Seraphine, seen here, is a very controversial champion. Ever since her first social media campaign release, she's generated a lot of hate. Her practices before her release generate a lot of hate, her design and implementation generated a lot of hate, and her current balance generates a lot of hate. People really do not like this champion. Because of that, I decided to make a video going over why that is. So, before we do that, ever make sure to like, ever make sure to leave a comment on your thoughts on anything we're talking about here, and I hope you enjoy this video. What is Seraphine's troubled past? I would put that into two different issues. The first is the potentially very manipulative social media campaign trying to pass Seraphine off as a real person. The second thing is the attempting to try to sell a skin in League of Legends as a character. Now, I'll explain both of those as we go into the future, but the first one we're going to go over is the potentially very manipulative social media campaign. This is the first introduction to Seraphine. This is a video game character, to be clear to anyone who doesn't understand this. This video game character had a Twitter and had an Instagram, and they posted pictures of apparently themselves. This was not affiliated with Riot in any way, and they just posted these pictures, and you can tell now that it's a video game character, but obviously things like this weren't a dead giveaway. Their non-affiliation with Riot led some people to believe that potentially they were actually a VTuber, or maybe these were heavily filtered pictures or things like that. Particularly the way that this account, this video game character, interacted with their fans. We can see down here that when someone said, "Oh my god, you're so pretty," the account replied, "Thank you," as if they were a real person. Now I'll go into more of this in the future, but the first thing I want to do is we want to go through this account, starting this account to share music and hopefully connect with people. Now, some people, they do believe that this account was trying to be depressed or use mental illness or use anything like that to try to, hype up and otherwise pass this person off as a real person. I do believe that they did use a lot of hashtag relatable content, but I don't believe it went so far as that. There are a few things here, and as I scroll through here, you can see them all. There are a few things here that I actually took a lot of issue with. The first off is, why are you trying to pass off a video game character as a real person? And second off, things like, if I finally find it up here, they use things like hashtag indie music on Twitter. That, in my opinion, is extraordinarily manipulative. Indie music. Riot, the billion-dollar company, Riot, is not in any way indie music. I'll skip ahead here real quick and show that the actual person who wrote this song that Seraphine covered, this video game character covered, and I don't know who sang it, when they were asked, "Are you the voice behind it? Do you have any connection with League of Legends?" They responded, "I'm just happy Seraphine.wave wanted to cover my song. Her version is amazing." So we can see here, when we began, the very first post was in June 26. Now, I've arranged a timeline here at the top of different things that have happened to show that several months went by, that this was being passed off as potentially a real person, maybe a VTuber. Now, I'm going to explain what a VTuber is real quick, so we're all on the same page. I never thought in any of my videos I would have to explain what a VTuber is. A VTuber, or virtual YouTuber, is an online entertainer who uses a virtual avatar generated using computer graphics. Real-time motion capture software or technology are often, but not always, used to capture movement. A digital trend that originated in Japan in the mid-2010s and since the early 2020s has become an international online phenomenon. So a VTuber would be somebody like this, who uses computer graphics to generate an avatar of themselves, as well as some motion capture technologies to make it move while they do video games or react to content or do anything like that. So the idea that A, this could be a real person using heavy filters, or B, could be a new VTuber who's doing music, which, by the way, is not uncommon. The idea that this character could be either of those was going through a lot of people's heads, which goes into this potentially very manipulative content. In addition to that, we can see that this cat shows up several times, and when this cat was here, this is a real cat. They were using a real cat in this social media campaign. The problem here is, by showing a real cat, we're saying that maybe this is a real person. If they have a real cat, they might be a real person. You can understand how this could look wrong. Now, going into the timeline, we have, was it June 26th, the character was first potentially will had their first tweet, right? Was revealed in a way in June 2020. So once again, this is from Riot's official insights here. This is their champion roadmap. They say, tune in next time to hear about a sensational mage and ultra tank heavy support. Okay, this is the first we actually got any official potential Riot communication that they were getting a new sensational mage, which obviously ended up being Seraphine. We can see here in August, so in June, July, all the way to August, they were still keeping it on the down low that this was really Seraphine. We can see it was only in August 20th, and I will show that here. We started to get things that Seraphine was actually Seraphine, that their new champion was actually Seraphine. We can see here in September 4th, so June, July, August, September, about 3-ish months on the timetable later, we can see that this is when Skin Spotlights finally put out their thing, saying yes, the Seraphine Twitter account is actually the new League of Legends champion, Seraphine. This isn't a feed tuber, this isn't someone using heavy filters, this isn't indie music, this is actually a Riot account. And we can see down here, this wasn't like some like well-known secret. We can see that the people are replying as if they didn't really know, no one really knew that this was the video game character Seraphine. We can see in September they talked about Seraphine, and I'm not going to read this, but they started to reveal the whole thing that Seraphine was a pop star, which, yeah, okay, that started to sell it. Now, from this potentially very manipulative social media campaign, it was originally made to tell the story about Seraphine's rise to fame. But here's the problem. It wasn't Seraphine, the video game character's rise to fame. It was about Seraphine, the, I don't ever want to call it Seraphine, the skin, the cosmetic. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, and let's talk about this here real quick, because I'm going to pull this up. Seraphine has a cosmetic. Now, these cosmetics are skins that you buy for your champion. So in-game, you can look different. I'm hoping everybody watching this video gets that concept. This one in particular, the one that was actually for the Seraphine character, so this character wasn't the actual video game character, it was the skin, the cosmetic of Seraphine. This sounds dumb and confusing, but just trust me on this. They weren't trying to do a social media campaign for Seraphine, the in League of Legends character, they were trying to do it for the skin. Now, this irks a lot of people, and I'll talk about this real quick. What they tried to do is make a skin a hashtag relatable character with a real story and Twitter and Instagram and blah blah blah, and they tried to put that into League of Legends. This character, the made-up skin, the cosmetic, not the real Seraphine, ended up being more important for Riot than the actual in-game Seraphine. So if you wanted to buy and play as Seraphine, you had to put out, what is this, 3,250 Riot points, and then you got her rise to fame. Well, how much is that? 3,200. Well, obviously you can't buy the exact amount that you want. I did the wrong thing here, but you can see here that the closest you could get, 3,250, would probably be about $25 to $30 for this skin that they did an advertising campaign for. And did Twitter and Instagram. You need to pay $25 to $30 to get it. We can see, and I haven't actually been able to find the exact source for this, but KD, All Out, Seraphine, Indie, and Rising Star, so the first two versions of the skin you bought, were promoted as the official reveal of Seraphine before her classic, the real League of Legends character Seraphine, was revealed. So the problem here is when they revealed that Seraphine was a video game character, they didn't even show her in-game video game classic look. They showed the skin that you could buy, which again was $25 to $30. So the classic Seraphine, the one that everyone gets for owning the champion, the classic unbought for look, wasn't even the one they revealed her with, which I don't think they've ever done for any other character. Seraphine's Twitter account was run by writer Bethana Higa with the goal of creating an interactive story about a girl who pursues her dreams. And you can understand, I'm hoping I'm making this pretty clear, how this starts looking really manipulative, not saying that it's a video game character, not saying that it's not a real person, leaving a lot of people to speculate on what's happening here, using a lot of hashtag relatable content, using a lot of Instagram posts, things like that. And you can see by the way, right here at the end, you can see when she finally takes on her blue hair as she rises to fame with the final version of the skin that you buy. So, and yeah, you can see this, you know, a little bit sketchy. The final nail in the coffin, though, for people believing that they were trying to put a skin into the game to sell a skin, to not put a character into the game, but rather a skin, is when Riot finally made, and I'll read through this a little bit, but that doesn't explain how we got to this Seraphine. How did she become a Runeterran singing sensation? Who is she really? And how in the world do we have a pop star in League? A lot of people wanted to know that, because for those of you who don't know, League of Legends is, for the most part, a medieval setting. It has swords, it has shields, it has people with giant axes. That makes up probably 90 to 95% of the content. The last little bit is Piltover, which is the futuristic city that uses steampunk. So they said the term pop star probably brings up images of huge cultural icons with backup dancers, lights, and packed stadiums. So how does that fit in Runeterra, a world where people use swords, shields, and the occasional semi-internal... The problem here is this post doesn't really say how. They just said that we had to make a pop star, so we made it the best we could and put it into League of Legends. So when you have a game that runs this, and this is a game, by the way, this isn't reality TV, this isn't one person, this is a huge campaign, likely involving dozens, hundreds of people, okay? And when you have that, and I'm just saying, it's very, very sketchy, okay? And when they finally come out and they finally reveal that, oh, this is Seraphine, but they're showing her skin that you have to buy, which you've never done before, and they're showing, you know, we didn't really know how to have a pop star in League of Legends. Now, just to be clear, I'm going to go over this again. When we have, I'm going to scroll down, where is it? Here. Now, this is KDA. Does everybody see KDA? Now, the thing with KDA is that KDA is their virtual band, okay? Does everybody get that? Now, this virtual band, within League of Legends, I'll go through left to right. She's a ninja. She's I'm gonna call her an evil shadow demon hunter to keep it simple. She's an evil fox girl, and she's a succubus. So within League of Legends, these are actual characters that do things, right? They're actually within the League of Legends lore, the League of Legends, all of that. They actually do exist, and they aren't just pop stars. Within this skin line, which they intend to sell, they are pop stars. Seraphine is the only character that is a pop star and then is also a pop star. So they very much did not intend to have this weird thing. I'm just not gonna go over it. So at any rate, a lot of people were very annoyed that they effectively took this skin, made it into a champion, tried to sell the skin before they even sold the champion, and then used, again, this very manipulative social media campaign. And that, I would say, pretty much summarizes Seraphine's troubled past. Actually, you thought that was all the controversy in Seraphine's past. See, actually, there was another League of Legends character, Sona. Now, this is Sona. She can't sing, she's actually mute, but she does play an instrument and had abilities very similar to Seraphine's. Sona actually did need a rework, and instead of getting a rework, Seraphine was released, causing a lot of people to question, did they actually just make Seraphine out of Sona's rework, then not rework Sona? Now, I'll let you guys decide for yourself. We will go through Sona's abilities. Every time Sona casts an ability, she charges up her passive. Her passive gives her more damage on her next attack. I'm gonna keep it simple here. So when she presses Q, she hits enemies and does damage. When she presses W, she heals herself in an AoE and shields people as well. When she presses E, she gives herself a movement speed buff. Her ultimate ability is she causes people to dance with a stun here. Now let's go through this again. She has damage, she has a shield AoE heal type deal, she has movement speed, And then lastly, she has, once again, the kind of projectile stun type thing here, okay? Now keep that in mind when I now go to Seraphine. Now let's go through Seraphine's abilities. Now just to be clear, a rework would be to make a champion more complicated, particularly because Sona is really not complicated. It would be to make them more complicated, more in line with Modern League. So with that in mind, you can see that yeah, it does seem pretty obvious that Seraphine did come off as a Sona rework made into a champion. Now, Sona, every time she casts 3 or 4 abilities, her next auto attack will deal more damage. Seraphine, on the other hand, every time she casts an ability, she gets more attack range and more damage on her next attack. Additionally, every time she casts 3 abilities, her next ability will double cast. So her Q, unlike Sona's Q, won't just immediately hit the 2 closest enemies if you press a button, but instead will do a somewhat long-range AoE attack. Her W, instead of shielding and healing, will now do a giant shield, and if you double cast it, will do a giant shield, double shielding, and then doing a giant AoE heal. Her E will slow people, and if you double cast it, will slow, then if they're already slowed, it'll root, and if they're already rooted, then they'll be stunned. Her ultimate, unlike Sona's ultimate, now Sona's ultimate, remember, it just does that AoE wave into a stun. Seraphine's ultimate is much more complicated and does an AoE wave into a charm, which is better, but can actually extend its range if it hits over allies. So you can see here with what I'm saying that Seraphine's kit seems oddly reminiscent of Sona's while seeming like a much more up-to-date, in line with Modern League kit. And you might be able to understand that a lot of people upon seeing this kit were sitting there like, where's my Sona rework, Riot? Why are you making me pay for the Sona rework, Riot? And that probably covers her past controversies. Oh, no, there's more controversy. That's right. For those of you who are looking, it's the Hex Tech. Let me read the Hex Tech for you so you guys can catch up. Hex Tech is a magical technology that fuses elemental and spirit magic to create exquisite artifacts that can be wielded by anyone, not just a few people out there with a natural aptitude for the arcane. It harnesses the magical power contained within rare hex crystals to function properly. What are hex crystals? Those are basically the souls of the Brackern. This I find quite stupid, and I wish they would just remove because it's stupid. Unfortunately, basically nobody knows that the souls of these scorpion people are actually the hex crystals. It's a stupid plot point, I agree. It doesn't make any sense other than to just randomly make Piltover this weird place that tortures ancient people, ancient scorpion people. I don't know. But the thing is, when they originally did Seraphine's story, she could hear the voices of anyone, including the voices of the hex crystals. Oh god. And the thing was, she wanted to bring peace and unity to everyone, while hearing from the hex crystals. Do you understand the problem here? She heard the pain and suffering of the hex crystals, and instead of doing anything about it, for some reason they had it written that she just wanted to sing to unify Piltover and Zaun, which they're 2 sides of the same city. I'm not going to go in there. So it came off as a very typical, to be blunt here, it came off as a very typical stupid influencer that wants to bring peace and, help everyone, but actually isn't doing anything. Oh no. How bad did this get? After enough people realized that they were writing about a character who wanted to help everyone while not actually doing anything, they had to, that's right, go back and change Seraphine's lore. Here is a post written on the Skarner main subreddit. Now this is Skarner, this guy, and he's a Brackern, so his people were being tortured for magical power, which I agree, that's so stupid. I don't know why that's there, but it ruined Seraphine's lore because, I don't know, did they forget about that stupid plot point? I don't know. So to read this, we've had our fun, and we'd like to personally thank everyone here for showing Skarner so much attention. It's only because of you that Riot has decided to change the lore. They had to literally go through and change Seraphine's lore so that she could no longer actually hear the crystals, because for some reason they have never retconned out this stupid crystal plot point to keep Hextech the torturous souls of people. Now, just to be clear, within this story, this would mean Jace made technology out of torturing scorpions. Why is this a plot point? I don't know. I'm going to keep repeating it because it's so stupid. But you can see here, I'm going to go all the way up here. You can see in past versions, they literally had to go on and retcon out several of her voice lines half a month after she launched, 2 weeks after she launched. Or is this no, this was an entire month after she launched. They had to go out and retcon her voice lines so she couldn't understand anymore. Let's listen to them.
I miss your kind too, Skarner. Would you like to hear their song?
What does that even mean? She's telling Skarner, I miss your kind too, Skarner. Would you like to hear their song? Just to be clear, once again, these scorpion people are being tortured and brutally hurt to create these Hextech crystals, which she can hear. And she's saying, would you like to hear the song of your tortured kind? So they had to remove this one too.
Aw, Caitlin, it sounds like your gun likes you.
She had to remove the quote from that because that's just stupid as fuck. And this last one.
The Brackern fuel our city, our future. All I can do is sing their elegy.
What does it All I can do is sing their elegy. Oh, I don't know, Seraphine. How about talking about the fact that you're torturing these scorpions on a daily basis? Maybe How did this get launched into the game? I don't know. They're being tortured every single day. They spend an eternity getting tortured. All I can do is sing their elegy. This is now definitely the last issue with her past, which will now transition into her present issues which are plaguing her. Remember when Ryan said, tune in next time to hear about a sensational mage? The problem is a lot of people were expecting a mage, and what they got instead was Seraphine. And Seraphine doesn't really seem like a mage, does she? She seems very much like a support, since her passive allows her to stack notes up on allies to reach higher notes, in other words, longer range and more damage, and because her W did an AoE shield and AoE healing potentially, and her E, if allies were slowing or rooting enemies, she could get more impact out of her slow by making it a root or making it potentially an entire stun. This meant that Seraphine very much came off as a support. It came off as a support so much that people were really angry. They had first been promised an artillery mage, which, okay, Seraphine is kind of an artillery mage. The way she stands in the back, shielding people and throwing out her Qs and hitting people with her pass, she kind of comes off as an artillery mage, but Riot had said that they'd canceled the artillery mage, but they kind of got an artillery mage, but she wasn't very good mid at all. In fact, she wasn't good mid to the point where on the very next patch, that's right, she was added in 10.22 and 10.23, they already started the process of rebalancing Seraphine to try to push her into mid lane because she was clearly better in support. So the controversy here, the issue is people were promised a mage, a sensational mage, and instead they got a support. In addition to all the things, and that's why I'm bringing this up here, in addition to every single controversy and every single issue that's led up to this, a lot of people were just really mad. Their potential mage had just been, well, canceled for Seraphine. And that brings us into her more modern issues then. So this takes us to the issue that is modernly facing Seraphine. Is she a mid-solo laner, a bot carry, or a support? Well, the issue right now is that she's actually the role that people least expected her to be. Here's Seraphine in mid, the 42nd most picked mid laner, which is quite low, with a 50% win rate, which is really low. For only being one-tricked in the mid lane, this means she is not performing well in the mid lane. Seraphine support, we can see once again, has a pretty low pick rate and pretty low win rate. Seraphine is not even doing well in support right now, which is unfortunate because that's where she has most of her pick rate. So where is Seraphine then doing best? In bot. Bot where? as a low pick rate bot carry. Now, the issue here is Seraphine is performing quite well, actually. In the role nobody wants her to be in. She has been buffed and changed a lot, and I'll show that right here. Starting right after she was added, she received a huge change to make her scale better with gold and items and to be worse as support. And then 2 patches after that, she was then once again changed to scale better with levels, to scale better with items, to be able to shield herself and be tankier. We can see that she received change after change after change after change after change, trying to push her more into being able to carry in mid lane and away from support. Finally, this culminated in patch 12.5. They finally gave her a large change, once again trying to push her in the mid role and away from the support role. Unfortunately, as we can see right here, she's now best in the bot role. So she's not good in support, she's not good in mid, and is now only good in bot. That isn't good. This isn't where people want to play Seraphine. We can see right here, despite doing extremely good in the bot role, she only has a 1.4% pick rate. Just to be clear, I'll show you this once again. If we look into the support role, now this is at Plat Plus, this is in between high rank and low rank. We can see in the support role, she has a significantly higher pick rate, despite the fact she's doing worse. This is the modern issue facing Seraphine. Everyone kind of wants to play her, but she's not good where people want to play her. People want to take Seraphine into support because she released a support, and she was good in a support for a very long time. Right, through doing all their rebalancing here, through doing all this rebalancing, they've pushed her away from where people want to play her, and they've pushed her into where Riot wants to play her, but they didn't even hit that mark. They swerved and hit bot lane. That's bad. That is very bad for the health of a champion if you have totally pushed them out from where people want to play them. That is not what a company should be doing, particularly if people have had now over 2 years. Has it been 2 years? It's been at least over 1 year of adjusting to the champion and actually playing them in a role to then push them out of that role in another one. That's just bad. That's really bad. Bringing us now to the issue with Seraphine's future. I want to show you guys something here that I actually, talking to a Seraphine main, was able to figure this out. If we look at Lux, and this is at all ranks, so this is the low ranks, we can see Lux support is massively popular, only being outdone by Sona, who is quite overpowered and will likely play second fiddle to Lux soon. We have to scroll down to see Seraphine. Now, despite Seraphine being, even at the low ranks, the 19th highest pick support, I want to show you guys something. When we looked at subreddits, and I know this isn't definitive, but when we look at the Lux subreddits, we can see 72 people online. When we look at the Seraphine subreddit, they consistently, despite having a lower follow count or join count or whatever you want to call it, despite having a much lower one, they consistently have double the people online looking at the Seraphine subreddit than the Lux subreddit. Here's something I'll show you that's actually pretty funny. There was recently an issue with Prestige Ocean Song Seraphine. A lot of people had issue with their hair, the hair of Seraphine. Now let's look here. I want to show you guys on the PBE subreddit, what is on average, what would you say the amount of comments a post gets? 1, 70, 4, 5, 3, 17, 1, not that many, right? Do you want to know how many Seraphine players, how many players that wanted to play Seraphine were giving their feedback as to Seraphine's prestige hair? 2,369, and that's before it got locked. Riot got such enormous feedback that the hair color wasn't right, that its shape wasn't right. They had to actually go back and change the skin. Lots of people actually really enjoyed playing this champion. Lots of people. The next one, when they followed up on it and gave feedback, how many people do you think commented on this post? Once again, 1,884 were merely sharing feedback as to the changes on Seraphine's hair on a subreddit which frequently only gets like 50 to 100 comments. Let's look at some of these. You can see actual feedback here. These aren't people just shit posting. These are actual things. Hi, please revert to the shorter hair. Change the color to a more pastel-y orange tone. Hair color example here. If you end up changing her, you see what I mean? There is a very, very large amount of people who like Seraphine, who like playing Seraphine, who unfortunately, due to her current balance, they don't actually get to play Seraphine. Oh man. So that's I want to say to Riot, that's just the future issue you're having with Seraphine. You kept her viable in support for a very long time, and you gave her a very large player base in support, and then you pulled the rug out from under them and you pushed her out of support, and now she's not being played in support that much because she's not really that good, and the people who play her play support. Now, while it is true, I do believe a writer at some point commented something that the female player base likes playing support, mid, and bot. I don't think in that order, but those 3 roles overall. So keeping her viable, or at least semi-viable, in those 3 roles does make sense to Riot, but the thing is, not everyone who plays mid plays support. Not everyone who plays support plays bot. I play top, and just because I'm a man, that doesn't mean that I also play AD carry. Do you get that? When you build up this ginormous player base that can give you this huge feedback, I think it's a bit disrespectful, again, to have them viable in one role for a year and then to sort of pull the rug. That's just me. Now look, maybe I'm not the smartest man ever, but that's just my feedback, and that would be my feedback on Seraphine's future issues facing Riot. Well, that's gonna be it for me and this video. I hope I accurately summarized her past, present, and future issues in a way that actually is pretty accurate despite not spending 10 million hours on it. I hope everybody enjoys this video. I'm not a Seraphine main, nor do I play bot, nor do I play mid, nor do I play support. So I'm a bit out of my element for this one, but I spent a lot of time making this and hopefully researching everything so you guys feel that it's pretty accurate. If you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a comment on your thoughts and anything you feel about this one, and that's it. Special thank you to all my Patreon supporters. You guys continue to support me and make this viable to do. Thank you to my YouTube members. You guys are also pretty cool. Thank you to everyone who watched, thank you to everyone who liked, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.